Hey everyone, Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. I got an amazing interview guest today. I have the legendary Shane, Rise and Grind Picker. Oh, I did the thing that everyone does. Hold on. Jeez. You'd think like I've been on YouTube for 2 years. I would have figured out to use the mute button. Let's do that again, everyone. We got Shane, the Rise and Grind Picker. Shane, you want to say hi and give a brief hello?
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm the Rising Grind Picker, and it's going to be a good show tonight, so stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like we've been kind of going back and forth for a little bit, and I'm glad that you actually made a post on Instagram talking about collaborating with other YouTubers and other people on social media. And I reached out to you, and thank you for reaching back out to me, man. Like we've talked actually before that about coming on the show, and of course life gets in the way. You know, we're busy. You know, this resale life is super busy. And so I'm glad you're here. And by the way, if anyone doesn't know who this guy is, and I seriously doubt you do, you can go down there to the description where he has his Instagram and his YouTube channel. Shane is most known for retail arbitrage, though. He has a plethora of tools in his belt. He's been around for a while. I would consider you, Shane, a veteran in this biz. And as a matter of fact, your YouTube channel is doing amazing. And the group of guys that you have around you, like Scott and Wade and all the dumpster war stuff. And we'll get into that in just a second. So, Shane, what is your origin story? How did this all start?
All right, Chris. Well, first off, thanks for having me on. And thank you for reaching out to me. So I like to collab with people because it kind of gets you into networking and getting to know people better. And so kind of like my origin story is this. So I started out going to school for criminal justice, criminal law. Went and worked for 2 years for the state of Indiana in a law enforcement role position, and then went into retail investigations for companies like Target and stuff like that, and did corporate management for like asset protection and loss prevention for about 10 years. And then unfortunately my position was cut with Target, but I was reselling way before then. About 2005 is when I started, just kind of off and on, part-time here and there. And I I had quit selling on eBay for a couple years, and I was like working a really crappy retail job. And I looked at my wife and I'm like, well, I got $20 in my savings account. I'm like, I need to figure out what to do. So we just moved into an apartment with a garage. So I got 2 floor lamps and put 2 floor lamps by a desk and a gray sheet and started taking pictures for eBay. And that's when I started really hitting eBay hard.
That's so funny when I think about those kind of origin stories too, where you start at this one point and you look back and you're like, oh my god, a gray sheet, like what was I
Yeah.
what was I
Yeah.
thinking? But that's just part of the journey, man, is learning what to do, what not to do, and all that stuff. Let's kind of step back a little bit to your criminal law degree. Has that carried over to your reselling business? And if so, like what kind of experience with a degree like that has helped you in your resale business?
It has, because I can tell you this. So I started out, I went to Parkland College and obtained a associates in criminal justice. From there, I went to Indiana State University and studied forensic science for about a year, and then transferred back to Illinois because I got promoted within retail back to Illinois, and then finished my bachelor's degree in criminal law out. And when I was going to school for criminal law and finishing, I was like an adult student. I was like 28 when I first started finishing my bachelor's. I'm 31 now, and I started taking business classes. And this is kind of where it all ties in, is I was taking business classes and I had an instructor that like really changed my outlook on everything. And that's when I knew I didn't want to do anything in criminal law. I was looking to go to law school, and I said nope. And it's when I started really pushing eBay, and started pushing YouTube and Amazon. And later on, that instructor asked me to come to Illinois State University to speak to like 3 classes of his in like an auditorium, which was pretty cool. So
Wow. So what did you talk about in those talks?
So really he wanted me to like break down, like they were studying like how buyers, like consumer relations and stuff like that. And so he wanted to kind of break down what I did, how retail arbitrage worked, and also for the most part like how Amazon worked. And the one question I asked in those classes that was like really shocking was, I asked how many people knew, like I asked how many students knows what eBay is, and about 2 people out of classes of 50 to 55, about 2 people raised their hands,
No way.
and
eBay.
and everybody raised their hands on Amazon. Yep.
Wow.
And that's when I really started like, I have to gear my business towards the future of e-commerce, and that's when I really started just hitting Amazon FBA as hard as I could.
Man, like you just like opened up this, like, it was almost like I saw the light right now when you just said about that, because it's totally true, and like everyone sees it, but just hearing it from you, you know, you're right. Amazon's like pretty much the biggest company in the world. Everyone, you know, one of the richest man in the world is pretty much the CEO of Amazon. So I guess, like, you know, like you could put two and two together for sure. Uh, let's talk about your experience with Target, if you don't mind. If you want to talk about were you a Target executive
Yes.
with some level? Like, how did that job go, and what did you do for them?
So I was an executive, an in-store executive for asset protection, and so what I did was I actually would travel from so little weird. So I would actually investigate shoplifters, but I also investigated internal theft. And
Mm.
so I would, my regional would send me. I was actually an interviewer, so I would go to different stores and interview people that had stolen, try to get them to admit, and then prosecute them. And then another kind of part of that was actually training employees on on the reseller policy, on not selling to resellers, which I was a reseller at the time.
So you're
So
like, it's
I
a
was a
little bit of,
double.
so how did that all go?
Good. So I mean, Target never found out I was a reseller. I actually had a YouTube channel while working at Target, and never said. I worked at Target until my position had been eliminated. So for 2.5 years, I worked at Target and did that, and made a pretty good amount of money. And then when they cut my position, I took about a $40,000 pay cut, and that's when reselling got a lot more serious for me.
Yeah, like I've been going to Target for God knows how long, and I've done a lot of RA there. I used to be into baseball cards. I guess I'm still into baseball cards, not like I was before. And I used to do that. I used to do the Hot Wheels and all those
Oh yeah,
collectibles and stuff like that. All the collectible stuff I was good at
treasure
RA.
hunts, like treasure hunts and stuff like that for Hot Wheels.
Absolutely. And for those that don't know, treasure hunts are basically like, they usually come at one per case. In Hot Wheels, I think a case of 72 might have one of them in there. They're different ones, and they're worth, you know, money. And now they have super hunts. Have you seen those?
Well, I mean,
Do you
so
know of them?
yes, I'm not gonna lie. I look at every Walmart, but I've never found one.
Right. They're hard to find now, because what's funny is, for those that don't know about Hot Wheels, before it would say treasure hunt on the side, and now they don't say treasure hunt on the side. So you have to actually know what they look like now to pull them, because from the pegs before, you can just look to the side, look at all the colors, and look for that green treasure hunt logo, and then pull
Mm.
it. So now it's now it's literally a treasure hunt. But yeah, Target's a great place. I've never had a problem with Target. Um, did you ever have a problem with Target? I mean, they would know that you work there, but did you ever have
Mhm.
an issue with doing retail arbitrage at Target?
Most of the time, no. It's based off the store manager. So Target does have a reseller policy saying, hey, they're not going to sell to resellers. Most of that is enforced with people that own gas stations and stuff that try to buy all their specials on pop and stuff like that.
Uh,
Most of that is geared towards that, but um, there has been people that have texted me saying, hey, Target limited me, and I'm like, yep, that's pretty common. This is why. And they went, oh. They
yeah.
just didn't know about it, and but they do have a reseller policy, and I think it's just based off store by store how much they actually want to enforce it.
Yeah, like for those that don't know, retail arbitrage is one of those words that's thrown around. Shane, you've been in this game for a long time. You could probably best define what retail arbitrage is. Could you do that for the guests that might not, or the viewers that might not know exactly what that is?
Absolutely, Chris. So retail arbitrage is, there's 3 ways to do it, and basically you're going into stores and buying stuff from retail stores and flipping it online for profit. Now there's clearance retail arbitrage, and then there's like discontinued items, and then there's buying full items at full price that sell for higher because the demand outweighs the product.
Right. That's pretty much it. And Amazon's usually some of the best places to kind of unload your stuff. When did you get into Amazon?
So I got into Amazon My account's like I would say about 4 years old. I for the first year I didn't do anything, and then I started merchant fulfilling books, and I merchant fulfilled for about a year, and I said, "Wow, this really sucks. Like I'm not selling anything." I quit, and so I took all my stuff I had on Amazon merchant fulfilled, and I donated it, and I quit selling on Amazon, and I went back to eBay, pretty much selling on there exclusively. And then I kind of linked up with Scott and some other people, and they're like, "You should give FBA a try." I'm like, "I don't know. I hate Amazon. It really sucks." And I gave FBA a try, and my first month, I sold a little over $2,500 in just used books. My first month on FBA.
Now, that before the fee apocalypse?
Yeah. It's actually, it was only about, I've only been selling on FBA right now for about 10 months.
Okay, so it was
Yeah.
pretty much after the fee
Yeah.
apocalypse.
It was way after. Yeah. It was a little after. Yeah.
So a little brief history for those that are watching. Do you want to explain real quick before I get into that what merchant fulfilled and FBA is? Because they're two different things.
Absolutely. So merchant fulfilled is really just like eBay. Like you're gonna take this roll of tape and you're going to list it on Amazon, but you don't have to take the pictures. And then when it sells, you have to ship it out. FBA is you're going to give this an ASIN sticker. You're going to put it into a box with a bunch of other stuff that you're building a shipment for, and you're going to ship it into an Amazon warehouse, and Amazon's going to fulfill it for you when it sells.
Right. That's pretty much how it is. So before, like I would say about 2 years ago, I don't even know if there was even fees for storage. I don't even think there was storage fees, but you were able just to pretty much send anything in. People were
Yeah.
just sending in truckloads of stuff. And then Amazon quickly realized that millions of people were sending in millions of things and their warehouses filled up very quick. So they had to figure out, well, how do we make money? And then how do we also stop people from just sending anything in? And then that's when the huge fee apocalypse happened. I think that was probably about 2 years ago. And that changed the game for everyone. I know one YouTuber that got stuck with like a $600 storage fee on the first go around, and that scared them out of the business completely. And so I can guarantee there was horror stories way crazier than that, probably in 5 figures, 6 figures with that. So that's really great. We got our first question from Jacob Charles. He says, Shane, do you do any retail arbitrage for eBay, or does it all go to Amazon FBA?
Well, so all right, so I'm going to break this down. So I mostly do not do retail arbitrage for eBay. Sometimes I do, but the reason I don't is because I already have a ton of eBay inventory that I've just built up that I'm trying to list. Now, if I didn't have that inventory, I probably would, but all of my Amazon returns will go, and I will sell as long as they work and they look really good. I will sell them as new open box on eBay to kind of filter them out and actually still get, a lot of my returns, I'm still getting top dollar for on eBay, but it just a few dollars lower than Amazon.
Yeah, for sure. I understand that. And that's actually a good business plan too, is I get returns every once in a while, but I never thought, like, because some of them, the things that I was selling health and beauty. So once they open them, they're pretty much done.
Right.
And I was lucky to get ungated in health and beauty a long time ago. I wasn't grandfathered in. There was a glitch maybe about a year and a half ago where you could literally just apply for grocery or health and beauty and they would just let anyone in. Well, not anyone. I was around for a while, so they kind of knew that I had a reputation.
Oh yeah.
And so I got like lucky and was able to get in. Are you ungated in health and beauty and grocery?
Oh yeah, grocery, health and beauty, supplements, nutrition. I'm ungated in almost a lot of categories, but not. So the one category I want to get into that I haven't is DVDs and CDs.
Yes. Oh my God. You read my mind, because I was just gonna say, I bet, because here's the thing, is like a lot of people were grandfathered into DVDs and I wasn't. I had an account since 2008, but I never sold. I just had an account open because someone's like, oh, Amazon, it's cool. It's like eBay. And so I set up an account. I just never sold on it. So I didn't get grandfathered in because I wasn't selling. So I have thousands of DVDs in my warehouse, and like, I wish I can do it too. I'm pretty sure you come across DVDs all the time that you wish you could put on Amazon.
Well, and now, so I bought a Eco Pro 2 CD resurfacer. It's like a really high quality CD resurfacer, and I'm actually going to be doing a lot of used video games on FBA.
There you go, man. Like that's a good niche. CDs and CDs too. For those that don't know what you're talking about, you probably lost a couple people. I know what you're talking about.
Right.
That's like a $1,200 machine, brand new. I
Yeah.
think you can get them for like 900 maybe if you look for them. But
Yep.
for those that don't know, let them know exactly what you just were talking about.
Yeah, so an Eco Pro 2, like what it is it's basically you can do like video games, Blu-rays, CDs, DVDs, and you can put it in the machine and it squirts out a compound, mixes it with water, and then like gets all the scratches out of it pretty much for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, it's pretty much a resurfacer. I haven't ponied up the time or the money for one, and that's like it's kind of funny as resellers. We kind of have these dream like machines that we wish we had. I don't know
Right.
if you know. Do you sell any jewelry or gold or anything like that? Silver?
Usually I don't, unless I do buy storage units once in a while. So if I come across it then and like there, I'll actually just take it to a gold store and just get like 50% of the value or whatever. But
There you go. Well, there's a machine that's like $4,000 that you literally put whatever metal it is in this thing, and it shoots a laser at it, and it tells you the makeup of everything,
what?
the
That's
percentage and everything. It'll
crazy.
be like, 95% gold, 0.0% nickel. Like it'll like tell you all that stuff. And it's like, I'm like,
Wow.
God, man, if I was a millionaire, I'd have that.
Yeah.
I'd have like 5 Eco Pros because those things are pretty expensive too.
Oh, heck
And
yeah.
yeah, and I didn't know that they actually have time charges too, where
Mhm.
once you get to a certain amount of resurfacing, you have to get another chip or something like that. Is that right?
Yep. Yep. Chip and a kit. So the kit is 800 minutes. And so after 800 minutes, you have to buy a kit and a chip. And they're about probably for the chip and the kit's 150 bucks.
Yeah. So that's actually not that bad. I thought they were more expensive than that, but it's just basically like, now, is that because the machine wears down, or is that just because they want to
Mhm.
make more money?
Well, so it's the chip is mainly for like basically the machine, like it's because it's timed, like like right when you get a CD, it'll flip open and you can actually set a timer for a minute. If you get a really bad CD that's really scratched, 1 minute will take everything out.
Yeah.
Like, and it looks pristine. And so that's for mainly like all the manual. And I think the chip is for making more money because you really wouldn't need a chip for something like that. But it does help, I guess, read the different sizes. Like, because it'll do GameCube games, but you have to have a special, per se, like a special adapter for
Oh, you can't put a GameCube game in there and
it.
just it'll work normal.
Yeah, you
Oh,
have to
because
just have an adapter for it. Yeah.
oh, okay. And does that company sell that adapter, or you have to get it through a
Yeah.
third party? Oh, okay.
Yeah. That Elm will sell the adapter and pretty much everything like that. So, yeah.
Dude, video games, retro games are so hot right now. Like I see that continuing for the next 10 years
Hmm.
before a lot of us start to become like 7 years old and can't read the TV anymore. But I think like it's crazy to see that whole genre sprout up because I started doing video games a long time ago in the 90s. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. I had Nintendo and I was a big Nintendo fanboy and all that stuff. But it's crazy to see now some of the prices of sealed games and graded games and all that kind of stuff. Do you
Hmm.
dabble in retro games?
So I do like now I do when I find them, I'll pick up some NES games and I'll actually move those on eBay for the most part. Like I have some NES consoles back there I still have to test, some Ataris. So I do a little bit of retro games on eBay, but like on Amazon, like I will sell like my favorite games to sell are like PS1 games, PS2 games, because you can get like a PS1 game that's selling on eBay for 20 bucks and sell it for 40 on Amazon.
Oh, you're so right. As a matter of fact, you bring up a really good kind of subject that a lot of people might not have thought of is actually like you are doing OA, online arbitrage,
Yep.
pretty much, where you buy something online to flip on Amazon and vice versa. I've actually bought stuff off of Amazon to sell for double on eBay. So that's actually a really good tactic. And as a matter of fact, I haven't heard people talk about that a lot as far as a tactic. And that's a really good one to do as far as like buying stuff to sell on Amazon. Now, of course, you have to have an Amazon account, and you should probably know what you're doing before you dive
Right.
headfirst into that. But
Right.
that's a good one for people that have already got their feet wet and know what they're doing, man, for sure.
And I'll do that with books a lot. Like if I get a textbook that I know will sell for 150, $200, I'll type in the ISBN, the eBay, and then I'll search from lowest and see if I can snipe or, buy a couple that just happens to, someone sell them for $7 or $8. And
Now
I'll
I got
buy
a.
a couple. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
Oh,
I
no,
didn't
you're
mean to
good.
interrupt.
No, I was gonna say I'll just buy a couple of them, and then I'll just when I get them from eBay, I'll just ship them right to Amazon.
Yeah, that's a really good tactic, and that's probably a really golden nugget here for those that are watching. If you're enjoying the show, definitely click the like button, subscribe to Shane's channel. That's in the description. Click the like button if you're enjoying this. I have a question, and I just brought it up when you're talking about Amazon FBA and
Mm-hmm.
selling books and all that kind of stuff for sure. What is your magic number for sales rank on a book? And I'll tell you mine before you tell me yours. Anything under 2 million or anything over 2 million, I won't sell. What's your number?
I will sell any book, even if it's 20 million,
No way.
as long as the e-score has one and the profits there. So I kind of analyze it. So I use Scout IQ to scan books, and if it hits green on a book, which means that Scout IQ is saying, "Hey, this is a green book," it means it's acceptable. You need to accept it. I will look at the profit margin. So I found one book. I still haven't sold it yet. I just found it like 3 months ago. It had an e-score of 1. It was over 20 million, but it sells for $949.
Wow.
So I bought it because it was like $1.50. And if I don't sell it, I'll just destroy it or get it sent back to me. And if I do sell it, then that's one book that I will sell and get like a $700 profit on or whatnot. And
Right, because you
so it
probably
just
sourced
depends.
it for
Yeah.
relatively, a good price. That's crazy. I don't think I've ever heard the 20 million. So basically, you're just going off of e-score. Now, I never heard of
Mm-hmm.
Scout IQ. Did you call
Mm-hmm.
it? I
Yeah,
wrote that.
Scout IQ. Yep.
I wrote that down, and I'm gonna look into that for sure. I use a seller tool. Is that familiar? Are you familiar with a seller tool?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never used it though. I've always used Scout IQ for books. It was just something that I seen it and I had a lot of good reviews, and then I just started using it for books, and I really liked it, so I just kept using it.
Right. Now, is it for just books, or is it
Mhm.
completely for everything that you can scan something?
No, it is just for books.
Oh,
So
okay. I see.
yeah, it is just for books, and I pay $14 a month, I think. But yeah, $14 a month for the live version, and for the most part, like it, I think I trust it hands down. 100%. Like I don't even look at Amazon. I just scan it, and then if it lights green, I throw it in the cart.
It's so easy. I,
Yeah.
w- I don't know what Goodwill is using, but I remember going to a Goodwill like a year ago, and I
Mhm.
and I kind of in one of their areas you can kind of see the back room where they have all their stuff, and I can hear these little beeps and chings and everything, and like I looked in the window, and sure enough, they were back there scanning books, and I saw the screen. And when they scanned it, all it had was a big thing that said red and a big thing that said green. So it was like it was like mindless,
Right.
mindless work. So actually, let's go down the rabbit hole of books, dude. Because now, like,
Yeah.
I'm starting to like, I have my questions. You're giving me answers, and it's like literally branching off to all these like ideas that I have.
Right.
Let's talk about IBSN numbers. You know how
Mhm.
like some of the old books that I think it's before 1983 or 1982. I'm not quite sure, but how do you go about looking at books that don't have barcodes?
So if they don't have barcodes, basically what I'll do is I'll pull up Scout IQ and I'll just type in the ISBN on the first couple pages. Now, a lot of older books don't have an ISBN. They have a Library of Congress number. So usually I don't look those up on Amazon unless they have a cover, and then I'll scan the cover. But if they don't have the cover, then you can always type in the title and try to find the book, but it takes so long. And I'm moving usually so fast, I'll just keep scanning and I'll just leave it behind unless it sells on eBay, and then I can usually look it up on eBay if it's like a first edition or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, I think some of the best books I ever purchased or got from a thrift store or anything was books that didn't have barcodes, and I just figured like, the people just left them because they don't want to be bothered with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the scanner guys they just kind of go through the whole thing because it's time is money. So
Yep.
I understand being efficient. I get that, but for the guy like me who has a little bit of time that might like want
Right.
to dive into that stuff, and I've been selling books too for a while. And what are some of the things that for someone that's new to this and doesn't have a scanner and anything like that? Like, what are some of the things that to look out for as far as books?
So for books, I would say like the first, like if I go to a book sale, like let's say I'm going to go to a book sale, the first areas I hit are nonfiction. Maybe like textbooks, if I can, like I'll scan the tables for textbooks and scan the textbooks, but also I really like to scan like the war and history, and as well as like some of the like outdoors. I really hate scanning cookbooks so much because like with cookbooks it's like very few and far between you'll actually hit a really good one. But if it's like about herbal science, or like I found these two books at the one sale, same sale, two books, and they were the exact same book, and they sold for $80 a piece. And it was a book about herbal science. And so I picked both of them up and I sold them within a week, both of them within a week. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good tip, man. And like, it's funny that you said the stuff about cookbooks. I don't think I've ever found a cookbook that was profitable. So like, so that totally makes sense to me, dude. So that's actually a good pro tip there. For me, I usually what I if I see thinner books that kind of look like magazines, do you know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about? And
Yes.
they have very specialty subjects and nonfiction, of course. I find like those are usually the things that are usually pretty good. And so it's very hard to explain, you know, like it's basically like almost the size of a magazine.
Hmm.
It's probably about twice as thick as a magazine, but it's a book. It's a soft cover. Um,
Yes.
those are very good too. Do you have any success with what are they called? Like they're those auto books, those mechanic books. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
They're
I,
like,
I I
go ahead.
actually sell a lot of those on eBay too, if you can get them
Okay.
cheap enough.
Is it
But
like Chaton or Chatine or something like that?
they have something like that, and then there's also a Haynes. There's a Haynes manual or something, or like they're called Haynes, Hanes, and they're like car manuals. And then they have like the ones you were talking about. I can't remember the names of them.
Yeah.
But car books, depending on like, there's books out there that people like. I was at a garage sale, and here's another really, really good pro tip: is some of my best books I found at garage sales. And there was one garage sale I went to, they had all books, and I stopped, and I think my whole back seat was loaded up with just books. And I spent $250 at that garage sale. And I found one book there, and it was about cereal. It was the history of cereal, and I sold it for $55.
Oh my goodness. Now, was it a hardcover or was it one
Yeah,
of those thin? Oh, okay, so it was like a legit coffee book, would you say?
yeah.
Coffee
It was
table
a
book?
it, it was a hardcover, and it was just about cereal. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it lit up for like 60, and I think I sold it for 55. And so I mean, it was a good score. But there's like, usually, like, now I can pick up a book and be like, oh, this is going to be a good one. But usually it's like the books that you don't expect are going to be good are actually good.
Yeah, that's funny that you said that because some of the stuff that I came across, I work out of a thrift shop and that whole world is crazy in itself. But
Hmm.
like something I found today was this large 1/18 scale like airplane. It was a big old plastic toy that was in a box, and
Nice.
I thought like, oh my God, this thing's like junk. And like I looked it up and it was like the one sold for $350, dude. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah. So it's like it's that thing where you sometimes you think is junk, but it's worth looking up. And do you suggest people pretty much look up anything really?
Yeah, anything, literally. Here's a good example. I have a printer back here, and I was at a garage sale last weekend, right, with my wife, and it was 50 cents. Okay, this printer. And it's an Epson Artesian 50. And on Amazon used, it sells for 450.
Oh wow,
And on eBay it sells for 250 to about 350
my
used. So
goodness.
50 cents, I didn't expect that. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. You know what's funny is the last printer I had before it took a dump, I got it at a Goodwill for $1 because they have dollar days every week
Mhm.
in the ones in California. And I got a printer and it worked fine. I just had to clean the heads, and that was the only problem with it is someone just said forget it and donated it. And I got it for $1. And that's another cool thing about being a reseller too, is I'm sure you're pretty handy. Do you fix a lot of some of the stuff that comes in or clean up the things that you get?
Yeah, I try like this printer. I'll clean it up. They said it works, so I have to test it, and I'll download the drivers and test it out. But It's like a CD printer. It's really weird, and it prints like CD artwork or something like
Ah,
that. I think
so
something like that. So
it's direct to disc, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. That I was like, okay, so the name when you were saying it sounds fancy.
yeah. Oh yeah. But it's like plastic, and I'm like, man, it's not really that fancy. But I guess the hardware inside. But I'll clean stuff up. Like I will. Like I had some stuff on eBay. Like I found several Griswold cast iron pans in the
Oh
past, and
yeah.
I've always cleaned those up. And I'll either so my favorite method of cleaning them up is actually like soaking them in baking soda, and then I take a drill and I put a sander on the thing, and I sand all the rust off, and then I re-season it. And then I just sold one like 2 months ago for like $89, I think, and I bought it for $1.
Yeah, for those, this is a pro tip. This is a super bolo. Is grit? Is it? I know what it is. Is it Griswold?
Yeah, Griswold. Yep, yep.
Those are probably the top tier as far as iron pans and stuff like that. Now you mentioned seasoning. Now I know what that is. I can
Oh.
guarantee 90% of the audience doesn't know what seasoning a pan is. Do you want to explain that real quick?
Yeah, so I don't suggest you do it inside. I did it inside and I got yelled at by my wife. But so what happens is I like you get all the rust off a cast iron pan and you want to season it. So what you're doing is you're seasoning it to cook with. So you preheat your oven to about I think 425, 450. Some people do it at like 300, just depends. And you put lard. You can put like lard, or you can put like there's a mixture of an olive oil and like a cast like a an olive oil and like a butter, and then you salt it and you put it in the oven and bake it, and that's basically seasoning it to cook with.
Yeah. So that I didn't know about that till I started to research, because I'm sure you do a lot of research too. I mean,
Mhm.
I think every reseller does research. I mean, that's just part of the job. And
Absolutely.
when I started to research cast iron pans, I went down that rabbit hole because I was just like, and I got fascinated. I even veered off to like watching like dudes cook stuff in the forest with them, and like
Yep.
we're gonna make some like ham and potatoes and eggs, in the forest, and like I'd go down
Right.
that rabbit hole and enjoy those cook shows and everything. So, oh man, cast iron pans is where it's at, and you can actually find those every once in a while at Goodwills, at garage sales and things like that. So definitely look out for Griswold
Yeah.
cast iron stuff for
I,
sure.
I found three in the whole time I've resold on eBay,
Yeah,
and one was at a Goodwill, and two were at garage sales.
there you go. I've yet to find one, but then again, I'm not out there all the time like I used to. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of garage sales, but with the family and everything. Do you have kids and a wife and all that kind of stuff?
Yep. So I have my wife. She works at a school full time, basically like working with like kids with autism and stuff like that. And then I have two daughters, and one's 10 and one is 7.
Cool, man. Yeah, I have two kids also. I have a 14-year-old who's at Disneyland today because
Oh wow,
he graduates eighth grade on Friday. So his schoolmates went to Disneyland, and I have a daughter that's 8. So I know exactly what you're feeling, man. Like it's
dude,
it's kind of hard. The
they
work-life balance is hard.
they grow up fast too. You know what I mean? Like they're not small forever. You know.
Yeah, I tell that to all my friends and family that have newborns, and I'm just like, cherish these moments now, because before you know it, you're gonna want to kill them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, my 10-year-old, she talks like she's a 14-year-old or 15. I'm like,
Yeah.
seriously, like cut it out. You know.
Yeah, it's a different thing, but yeah, I love my kids. They're awesome. And so, are any of your kids interested in reselling at all?
No, and my wife doesn't like she's really not interested in it.
No.
So her most common phrase is it's not my circus. Because I do tons of crazy stuff. Like I bought 70 or 80,000 bubble mailers, and she came home one day and they were filled the whole house was filled with bubble mailers. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
I buy like a lot of bulk purchases, and recently I came home with a box truck a while back ago. And so yeah, I mean, she's always says, it's not my circus, but they're not
Yeah.
really interested a lot. Now, Madison, my 10-year-old, she will go to thrift stores once in a while, but very few and far between.
Yeah, like my 8-year-old really enjoys this stuff, and I think she's gonna be into it. She's the artist. My son's like the athlete, and so I could see she likes to go to stores, but she likes to buy stuff.
That's
She likes
all.
to
Oh
buy.
yeah,
She wants toys to play with, not to resell. So that's the funny part about that for
that
sure.
Madison's the same way. Like if she goes, she wants stuff to keep. Like she doesn't want it to like sell. She's like, I want this because I want it for my room.
Right. Totally. Totally for sure. So let's talk about your YouTube channel, man. Congratulations, by the way, on almost having
Yeah.
25,000 followers, dude. That's great. I heard a metric from some other YouTuber the other day, something about like only like 3% of the YouTube population is above 10,000 subscribers. So just having 10,000 subscribers is a huge deal, let alone 25,000 subscribers. And by the way, I have Shane's link below. If you haven't seen his channel, he does some really cool stuff. I was telling him earlier that I dove deep into his content today for this research for this interview, and I was blown away with some of the stuff that I was seeing. So definitely go down there, click the subscribe button, and check his stuff out. What would you attribute your success on YouTube to?
Well, dude, I appreciate that, and I appreciate like you recognizing that. And I'll be honest with you, I would attribute it to luck. Um, I got lucky, and I was one of the people that got lucky. And I think that with YouTube, a lot of hard work goes in YouTube, and everybody puts hard work in. Even if you have 200 subscribers, you're putting a lot of hard work in. And I know when I remember when I was at 0 subscribers, I was sitting there talking to myself for months with 10 subscribers, like, how the hell am I going to get through this? Like, I don't understand. I don't think this is going to work out for me. And so I just kept grinding and I kept pushing forward. I kept putting out content, and I kept really understanding and engaging and watching videos on YouTube, SEO, search optimization, stuff like that. And so when I dove into all that, I kind of put it together. And about a little over a year ago, I put out a Dollar Tree video and it went viral. And it got about 200,000 hits. And I had 900 subs when I put it out. I was like, it started going viral a week later, and YouTube, or actually not a week later, it was on YouTube for 3 months, and then it went viral.
Oh,
And
wow.
YouTube, right when it started going viral, they unleashed me for monetization. And I went from like 1,000 subscribers to like 6,000 in like 4 or 5 days. And it was just a lot of luck.
Yeah. And a lot of hard work too.
Yeah.
I totally hear what you're saying, but to anyone that's out there that's thinking about starting a YouTube channel about anything about reselling, just know that it is a hard grind. And like Shane says, it literally takes just one video to get over on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. So I've been down that road before where I'm just like, nothing's happening, nothing happening. But you're right. You dig into the analytics, you dig into the titles, the tags, what people want. Try to keep your content niche, stay in
Mm-hmm.
a couple. Don't go all over the map with your content. I've learned all those kind of things too, so
Yeah.
that's really cool. Let's talk about dumpster diving. We'll kind of take a left turn here real quick. So you have a show with Scott the Bearded Picker. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's Scott and Wade.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about that show real quick?
Yeah, so it's called Dumpster Wars. And so virtually me, Scott, Wade, and then Jason Deason, Thrift Trader. And then there's one other person that we're going to add, but no one knows that until next week. So,
Or now?
or till this Sunday. So virtually, we were all sitting here one night, and me and Wade and Scott were all talking, and we're like, we really want to do something that's really, really cool that no one has really done before. And we want to like do something different, because I was getting really burnt out with retail arbitrage content and Amazon content, because there's only so much Amazon content you can put out there.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's all out there on the table, and there's not a whole lot you can do with it. And so I had dumpster dove previously quite a bit, once in a great while. I make a video, but how I got into dumpster diving was I always dumpster dove for eBay packing material, like 5-6 years ago. So I've been doing it for a long time. So we're all sitting here, and then Wade's like, "What about like a competitive show, like a dumpster show?" I'm like, "What about Dumpster Wars?" And he's like, "That's it." And then we started working on it, and we worked on it for 6 months until we released the first episode.
Yeah, that's great. Real quick, thank you, Krillin, for the $2 super chat. That's like the first super chat I think I've ever gotten, dude. So
Heck
thank you.
yeah, congrats, man.
And he's asking, have you guys started Web Interpret yet? I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
I think Krillin's probably talking in code.
Yeah.
And and huge shout out to Krillin. I've learned a lot about clothes from that guy. He's awesome. We also got a bearded picker in the house talking about Scott. Look, he's here, bearded picker in the house. We got Vikings mother. How you doing, Thrifty Santa? You know it's a good show when Thrifty Santa comes rolling up in here and all that stuff. So that's pretty funny. So so we'll go back to Dumpster Wars real quick. You guys have, how many episodes have you done?
So we've done two episodes. We're going to release the third one this Sunday. We did a couple weeks just because we had like gotten like really over, like we were editing, doing all the work, and then so we just needed a couple of weeks off. And so we're releasing the third episode would be this upcoming Sunday.
Oh, cool. So what channel will that be released on?
Mine.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So there you go, folks. So this Sunday, mark your calendars for episode 3. You can binge watch episode 1 and 2. Are all of them on your channel, or do you guys kind of rotate? How's that work?
Yeah, so we rotate channels, but what's amazing is that every person involved with Dumpster Wars has a playlist on their channel that is a Dumpster Wars playlist.
Oh, perfect. So that actually makes a lot of sense. So Krillin says, Web Interpret translates your listings into other languages. Okay, that makes sense, right?
That's crazy. I didn't even know that existed, to be honest with you, Chris.
Neither am I. And that was not a paid advertisement, folks. I have no idea or no affiliation with Web Interpret. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Scott said. Oh yeah, that is right. There's 3 out now. The 4th is this Sunday.
Okay. There you go. It's all good. It's all good. Yep. So yeah, definitely go and check that out. But I have one more question about the Dumpster Wars. What is how do you guys win? Like, what's the kind of point system? Like, it's obviously a battle, right? So how does that work?
So all right, so here's how it works: is at any time that we find something that we keep in the dumpster, if we throw it back, it doesn't count. So we don't get any points, but if we keep it, we get 1 point. And that's each dumpster. So we do 3 dumpsters per round. And so virtually you could have a tie. And you also get a dumpster for style or swag if you find something like really cool, or if you like eat a chicken sandwich out of a dumpster, or eat like some, some, I don't know, like candy or something, then you get a swag point, right? So then if you're tied at the end, then it goes to a Dumpster Wars battle round, and that's the first person to actually find something of value in a dumpster wins.
That's so funny. That's great. That's great. So Frontier Flipper says, oh my God, your pile is getting bigger behind you. But before you mention anything, I gotta say, I spot a dark tower behind you.
You do, yes. I am working on piecing it out, actually. It has a immaculate tower, perfect condition, works amazing. So I'm selling the tower separate. And then I have all the pieces. I have double pieces of everything.
Oh man. Wait, so you had double pieces in that box?
Yes.
Or you put two games together?
No, I bought it like that. So I had double pieces of all the little men. Oh. So, and everything but just one tower. So the box is like thrashed. It's like broken. So I'm probably going to just part it out and sell it. And I was actually going to do that this week. But it's those little pieces sell for pretty crazy money as well, actually.
Yeah, and you actually bring up a really good point. Is I've been parting out pieces for a while. It's really good. It's really lucrative, especially if you don't have something that's complete or it's very sought after. Have you heard of Fireball Island?
I don't think I have. No.
Okay, so Fireball Island is another Bolo game. It's kind of around the same area of Dark Tower. I think there's a couple other ones that are
Hero Quest.
Yep, Hero Quest. So Fireball Island is right in that thing. If you can find a sealed one, I think it goes for like $400 or $500.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the pieces go for like $20, $30, and up. So That's actually a pro tip for anyone that's, looking to kind of do something else. Probably the most common thing that I'll part out, and they've made millions of these things, is Monopoly pieces. You can find those at like garage sales for like a quarter. I'll like take all the little metal pieces. There's some limited edition Monopoly sets that you can easily get $10 for the little pieces and things like that. So that's actually a really, really, really good pro tip for those that are out there for sure. All right, let's take another left-hand turn here. Let's talk about baseball cards. Now, I was watching a show that you were on, and you kind of touched on baseball cards, that you were in baseball cards a while ago. You want to tell us, did you ever do reselling with baseball cards?
So probably one of the first things I sold on eBay back in 2005 was a baseball card. I had a couple rookie cards. So I collected a lot of baseball cards when I was a kid, but a lot of kids did, like back in the 90s, because baseball was huge. Like people, like you had a lot of really, really good players. And so I collected a lot of baseball cards back when I was a kid. And then when I got older, like back in 2005, I started selling some of my collection on eBay. And that's really how I got started on eBay. And then now, what I'll do is I'll look for rookie cards and stuff. But if it's not a rookie card, I usually won't grab it. But I do buy some sports memorabilia now. Like I'll buy signed baseballs and autographed pieces, if I can find them. I think I have a baseball. I can't remember who it's autographed by. And then I had another autographed piece that I can't remember what I did with it, but
no problem.
But yeah, I will look for like rookie cards and stuff like that. But
yeah,
most of your like 90s sets are kind of like really not worth a whole lot unless you find the rookie cards.
Right. And for those that don't know, what Shane is referring to is called the junk era. That's what the collectors call it. It's between like 86. It could even be up to 82. It's like 86 to like 93 or 94 is like the junk era, where it's pretty much they produced millions of those things. And, I think Ken Griffey Jr. was in the middle of that whole era, and they just produced so much stuff. And do you remember what rookie cards you were selling back in those days?
I actually had sold a Michael Jordan baseball rookie card when he started playing baseball, and I actually sold it for like, I think $30 back then, $25, something like that. Now I don't even know what it's worth, but I had 2 of those. And then I had a couple Shaquille O'Neal rookie cards for basketball, and I had a couple Mark McGwire rookie cards that I sold off. And some of those, like the Mark McGwire ones, are worth quite a bit now if you get the right ones. But
right, I think the 1985 Olympic rookie is probably one of his best ones, and I think that Michael Jordan was 1991 Upper Deck or 1992 Upper Deck.
Upper Deck. 100%. And he had like 2 of them, I think. And one was he was running down to a base, and one was where he's in the outfield, and I had both of them. So
yeah, they were variants back in the day when that was kind of like emerging. Now everything, like comic books, they make like 50 different covers of one thing, and it's hard to chase them and everything like that for sure.
Yep.
So what's your kind of like schedule like as far as sourcing? Like what do you just kind of source on a whim, or are you very militant with your scheduling?
So I used to be, but now I'm not. Like I'm more like on a whim. Like I'll look for like stuff on BrickSeek, and I'll just kind of be in and out of Walmart once in a great while through the week. And what I'm looking for, like I'm looking for clearance, but I'm also looking for that one item where I can pick up a lot of and then sell a really high volume amount, and it's kind of plentiful, but maybe the price won't be dropped because it's not plentiful in other places.
Yeah.
And so I source a lot of clearance, a lot of stuff like that. And then it's pretty much whenever I feel like my sales start dropping, I start sourcing again, and for eBay, I probably don't need to source for like the next 2 years, but
from the stuff that's behind you right now.
And I mean, that's like this pile's actually like cut in half. Like this pile is probably going to be all listed because it's only like, it used to be gigantic, but if you look at it really now, it's only like 4 or 5 things. So it's like almost all listed, but That's not including the pile I have in the hallway outside of this room.
Yeah,
So
I hear I hear you for sure. So, you would say like now it's pretty much like, kind of relaxed schedule. You kind of, let's like, I go to Walmart right now, I got some free
yeah,
time and stuff like that. So do you think Walmart's probably one of the best places to do retail arbitrage? Because I hear people mention that a lot.
I wouldn't say the best. So here's the thing with Walmart is Walmart, if it hits final markdown, they're going to pull it and send it back to the DC, and they're going to sell it in liquidation pallets. That's just how they do things. Now, I will try to catch items like now with Walmart, you will get items that go in clearance, and it's everywhere, because that's like my most plentiful store around where I'm at in
Right.
Illinois is Walmart. So if you can hit an item, like I was, going around picking up iHome mirrors last December, and I got like 50 some of them, and I sold them for $89 a piece, and I was paying $12.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, and they were kind of plentiful, and then they started pulling them off the shelf like the next day. So I had 24 hours to pick them up. But I would say like a lot of the stores that you normally don't go in, like people that normally don't go into, like Walgreens and stuff like that, they're pretty decent too. I think the main thing is you have to learn each store. And if you
Right.
can learn a store, like learn when they mark down stuff, learn when, they reset areas, I think that's going to be like your biggest opportunity.
Yeah, that sounds like there's a lot that goes into retail arbitrage. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, like I don't go out doing retail arbitrage, though I have been doing it forever too. Like, but I
Right.
don't go out like, oh, I'm going to go and do retail arbitrage today. That's just not
Yeah.
what I do. But, like I could see like where in that genre, just like selling on eBay or selling on any platform, you really got to know the ins and outs, especially like you said, Walgreens. Like, if you're ungated for health and beauty, they might have some herbal something or another there, or something that's very unique to Walgreens. I know Walgreens has started doing like exclusive collectible Funko Pops like a couple years ago. So,
Yep.
they're getting into the collectible business now too, and certain things are only available here and there. I was at a Toys R Us before it closed. Rest in peace, Toys R Us.
Yes.
And
Rest in
I don't
peace.
know if you've ever seen this as a retail arbitrager. I guess that's a word. An RAer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could make it. We can
There you
jot it
go.
down right now and send it to Webster. So
There you go. I actually scanned something and it said like 1 cent at Toys R Us. Have you ever had that at Walmart or anywhere where you scanned it and it said 1 cent or like 3 cents?
like on Amazon or whatnot.
No, like on, like the little scanner that they
Yes.
have, the pricer thing.
Yes.
What is that about?
So I buy a lot of penny items from Dollar General. And so I will look for penny items. So Dollar General, they have penny items because they're supposed to be pulled off the shelf, because it's stuff that maybe is like they're not going to carry anymore. They need to send it back. And if they don't pull it off the shelf, it's a penny. Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
But like other stores will just mark it down so low. Like Walmart, what they used to do was they would just mark it down, but the corporate would be marking it down. And so the store really wouldn't know what it would be at. And I have found like coffee pods and stuff at Walmart for like 3 cents. Sorry about that. It's just I'm
No
just
problem.
getting over a cold. I got like super sick last weekend. It was just all downhill from there. So, but I feel way better today. But so I guess like you got to really like look at markdowns, because Walmart, they don't do it so much anymore. And why I say this is Walmart is going over to a very similar type of retail that Target is. And so Target, you don't see those things at Target that much really anymore.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem. You want to drink some water or anything?
Yeah, let me take a quick drink.
It's all good. So the thing is, what's crazy is when I had the item, and I do art and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
repaint action figures and crazy stuff like that. But I was buying a thing that I wanted to repaint, and I just wanted to check the price to see if it was on sale, and it said like 3 cents. And when I brought it to the register, I didn't even say anything. I didn't even want to say anything. I'm just gonna let them bring it up. And the lady that was at the counter was like, oh my God, like you found one of these. And I'm like, okay, but she wouldn't tell me like, why I asked her, like, why is it marked down 3 cents? She's just like, it's 3 cents. And then so she scanned it, and I always wanted to know, and that makes sense if like it was something that needed to be pulled off the shelf or something like that. And to be honest,
Right.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone on YouTube talk about that there's
Right.
things in the stores that are like literally marked down to 3 cents.
Well, and what's crazy is I started doing penny item videos for Dollar General, and they went crazy. Like I had one like a month ago that had like 60 some thousand hits, and I'm just filming myself going and buying these penny items and finding them and whatever.
Oh, so you do have a video on that?
Yeah, I have like
cool.
4 or 5 on it. And,
oh, no kidding.
And it's actually, there's a pretty big community around penny shopping at Dollar General, which kind of really didn't know about, but it's kind of crazy. But you know, like Walmart, you will find stuff you used to that was a penny or 3 cents because corporate had marked it down and they were just trying to push it out. But now, so Target, you don't see those things at Target because what happens is they have a team that goes around and marks stuff down. And so they have a little handheld device called it's a Zebra, and it looks like a phone, but it's a Zebra handheld device. And when they need to pull something off the shelf, it beeps and alerts them, and it takes them to the aisle, and they tells them to pull it and prep it to send back to DC because the markdown is too low.
Yeah.
And then they send it back to the warehouse, like the DC warehouse, and they actually sell it as a liquidation lot. They
Dude,
just put it in a box.
There's $1 million idea out there for anyone that wants it. Here it is right here. Come up with a device that's able to scan the whole entire store at once, like Tony Stark or something.
Yes.
And then it'll tell you anything that's like 3 cents or lower than 10 cents. And then there you go. You're a millionaire.
Awesome. I mean, that would be awesome. And Walmart now is doing the same thing. They're pulling items that are at their final markdown, and they get alerted, and then they pull them and take them to the back.
So I got a question for you then too, off the back of that. So that was the first time I ever experienced that, and I thought it was really crazy and an anomaly. I didn't think there was any rhyme or reason behind that. But it's like, why do they mark it down to 3 cents? Why don't they just say go and pick this item up?
Right. And I think that's where a lot of stores, they will mark it down like that because so now, like, the reason Dollar General does is because they marks it down to a penny because they're supposed to pull it anyway. So it's marking it down to a penny so the stores aren't accruing a loss when they send it back.
So it's is it a tax write-off thing?
I think so. And I don't know because I've never worked for Dollar General, but I know that Target would do the same thing. They would mark it down so low. Once it hit like the low, like $1 or 50 cents, they would pull it from the shelf. And then the store would get charged the full credit. So they would get charged the full price for that they paid for the item or that they were actually selling it for. So like, let's say this phone was, they bought it for $200. They sold it for $500. They marked it down to $50. It didn't sell. They pull it off. They send it back to the warehouse. But if it gets stolen or if
here are some results from the web.
that was Google warning me.
That would have been. And luckily, it wasn't one of those nightmare things. That's
I know
you were looking for Asian hentai.
I know that would have been awkward, right? But that would have been really awkward. But so basically, if it gets stolen or let's say, lost, they get charged $500 in shortage.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's the old. Man, people have been doing that for centuries. I bet that trick. Yeah. So, okay. So if I took anything out of this show, and I've taken a lot, and thank you for being here. I know you're not feeling well, and I appreciate it. I just learned a bunch about that. What the hell that penny thing was all about, dude. Yeah. So that's great.
And a lot of stores do it, and a lot of it just comes from corporate. Like they're marking it down to try to get rid of it, and a lot of times. Some stores like Toys R Us, I think that's why they went out of business, was because they were stuck in the 90s. And that was like a 90s tactic. Like they would mark it down just to get rid of it because it's showing sales. They would just take the L, take the L and say it's, we lost money on this product.
Yeah. Well, Toys R Us died because, like you said, they wouldn't change with the times, and they had a pretty crazy, they didn't manage the stores properly. I think they probably should have consolidated maybe in the early 2000s and made
Yep.
it like, more flagship stores and did a more of an online presence. But it is what it is. I think people just, I don't know, it was mismanaged. That's the bottom line. We got a huge shout out to Jacob Charles for a $2.99 super chat. He says, great show, loving the RA knowledge, the retail arbitrage. So Shane, I really appreciate your time and coming on the channel for sure. You're an amazing reseller. You have a really good YouTube channel. All your links are going to be below. Definitely check out Shane. He's got a wealth of information. Dumpster Wars is going to premiere episode 4 on Sunday. So check his channel for the time. Do you know what time it is of that show?
We usually it's kind of, we usually try to release it anywhere between like 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. But sometimes we've been late, sometimes we've been a little early. So Wade's wife does all the editing, so a lot of times it'll render for a long time. So it just depends on like rendering
I
status.
got
So
you. Have you guys dabbled in the Premiere option? Do you know about the Premiere options?
yeah, I did a little bit and I like it because I like actually being able to talk to people in the chats. But sometimes I've noticed that like the videos will take a sort of a dive sometimes after the premiere for some reason. Like they won't
Mhm.
get as many views until
So there's
like a
like
few days
yes.
after.
So it's like an algorithm thing that's kind of like, okay, that makes sense. It's funny, like, we think alike because I look
Right.
at the data too. I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong on my channel? Like,
Right.
why isn't anyone watching my videos? And I'm like, looking at all the data like a mad scientist. And you're doing the same thing where you're like,
Yep.
well, that premiered, man. I looked at it like 24 hours later and we have a dip right here at like hour 3:05. You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, you have to like, and with YouTube, like you want to be in your analytics like that, and I think
Yeah.
that's how you get to be a better YouTuber.
Absolutely. So Shane, thank you for coming. Any final words before we wrap this awesome interview up?
Well, Chris, I appreciate you having me on. It was an awesome show, and I really liked it. And feel free to reach out to me anytime you want me back, or if you want to come on my channel, you're more than welcome anytime. So just let me know. And then final words is there was a lot of people that told me, this isn't possible or you couldn't do it. I mean, here's the thing: is you are in control of your own destiny. So if you think you can do it, then you haven't really applied yourself until you gave it your best actual shot and reselling or what YouTube or whatever. So that means you're gonna have to like do everything you can, because I always say there's two types of people in business. There's people that do the minimum or do like they try but not too hard, and there's people that do like whatever it takes. And if you're one of those whatever it takes people, you want to exhaust every opportunity until you honestly have no more to give it.
Beautiful words, man. I couldn't have said it better myself. I got all of Shane's links below. Once again, everyone, thank you for the super chats. Everyone that has tuned in, definitely click the like button if you enjoyed this video. I don't do too many interviews, and it was nice to kind of do an interview for like with Shane, and I wanted to do that for a long time. So Shane, thank you for coming by. Have a good night, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Yeah.